All right, friends. I hope you've had a great weekend. It is time for our Teach or Tech tip of the day. And today I'm going to be sharing with you an analysis strategy called What, So What, Now What. And it's something that you can use to help your students start developing some original thought that's backed up with evidence. Okay. We're going to go through this in a kind of a middle school ELA setting and a first grade math setting. So I think that you can see it can be used in any subject at any grade level. Um, with the what, so what, now what, the first step is always going to be to introduce your students to the text or to the problem that you're working with. So we would do a read through of this text, and this is a very short excerpt from the All American Slurp, which is a fantastic story, by the way, if you haven't read it. We'd read through this, and then I'd start my process. And I'd say, so tell me what you notice. What do you notice when you read this? And that's the first step of this. What stands out to you? What words are important? And what do those words mean if some of them might be confusing? And so you'll notice that I've marked a few things: shook hands, packed ourselves into a sofa, sat stiffly in a row, stole glances, and then clue as to what to do next. And so as I'm working through this with my students, I'm going to kind of ask them questions to get them to that understanding of what's standing out to them and what they're noticing. The second part of this is so what? So, what does this mean? What does this let me know as a reader? What new understanding do I have? And so, if I'm thinking about these phrases with shook hands and sat stiffly in a row, this lets me know that this character isn't exactly comfortable. And so, I have this new understanding starting to develop of that maybe they're in a place they don't want to be in. And so, then I move on to my next step, which is the now what. And so I'm thinking, why is this important? Why is it important for me to think about these things? What original thoughts do I have? How can I use that text that I identified to support my thinking? And then what questions do I have? So if I'm thinking about that last piece of what questions do I have, I might start to ask myself, why is my character uncomfortable? Why are they in a situation that's making them sit stiffly and pack themselves into a sofa and steal glances at their parents? And so if you go through this with your kids and you ask these series of questions, they can start to build their understanding of the text that you're working with. This works in ELA, it works in science, it works in social studies, especially when you're doing like primary source analysis and things like that, because it really focuses each step of the analysis process. I know this was really quickly going through it here, but I'm trying to keep these short. So we're going to look at a first grade math problem too to see that this doesn't just have to be text that you can do this with. And so this is a grade 1 math problem focusing on subtraction of 9 from 10. And so first step again is to look at what we have with your students. And then you're going to go into what do you notice? And so hopefully as you ask those questions, what stands out to you? What information is important? Your kids are going to say, oh, there's 16 books. Oh, there's 10 books here. There's 6 books here. And then they took 9, which is going to start to lead me to some understanding here. Second step of this, so what does this mean? What does this information let me know? And so this lets me know that I've got 16 books all together, that somebody took 9 of those books. And then if I look at that phrase left on the table, I know that I'm going to have to think about how many books are going to be left on the table. And so when I think about the now what, why is this important? Like, why am I looking at all of these things? If I'm looking at these phrases, especially took 9 and left on the table, how can I use that to support my thinking? That lets me know that I'm going to have to subtract. I start to think about those processes. And so in math, this now what step, why is it important that I'm looking at these words and that I'm looking at these things? That now what is where you start to get into your operational processes, where you talk about addition and subtraction and what these words and these problems are telling you to do. I hope that this really quick overview of what, so what, now what gives you enough understanding that you could see how you could adapt it in your class. I hope you have a great day, friends, and I'll see you tomorrow.